Mr. Red, White, and Blue. Lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. For these stars and stripes. Hey.
Hey everyone, it is RJ Allen again. And remember, we are celebrating Veterans Day and we are interviewing teachers here at South Johnson who have served this great country that we live in. And right now with us, we have got Colonel Brewington. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, sir.
So, since we have an Air Force JROTC, I am assuming you were Air Force.
Yes, sir. That is correct. 22 years.
22 years. So what is it you did in the military?
Which time I couldn't hold a job. Started out, everybody wants to fly. Everybody who's in the Air Force.
I understand.
Especially officers want to fly. So I held out for a flying position. We had more pilots than we had airplanes at the time. So I had to go to a plan B. So I started doing operations management in a fighter squadron. And once I knew the flying slot wasn't going to happen, I got to do the second best thing, and that was to fly in the back for a little while. And still loved it. And left there when I knew there wasn't a chance to fly. Went to special operations for 12 years and did special ops for the Air Force.
Okay.
And let's see, eventually went into acquisitions. So instead of just flying them, started buying them.
Okay.
So we bought everything from aircraft to different weapon systems to testing it. And that's pretty much the whole career wrapped up with testing.
Cool. So my father is retired Air Force. So
Okay.
I grew up at Seymour Johnson. Most of my life was spent at Seymour Johnson.
Okay.
We traveled around like, military does. So I know the Air Force fairly well. Would never served, always wanted to, but never did
It's
serve.
not too late.
I'm 53. It might be a little late.
Okay,
It might be a little late.
Yeah.
Do you think everything that you did in the military? Well, first off, how did the military change you from the time you entered in as a young man to where you retired?
Well, I grew up in Robinson County, North Carolina. Same high school, same small town all my life. So I joined the military to be able to see the rest of the world. I wanted to broaden my horizons, right? So what the military did for me was they gave me opportunities I wouldn't have had otherwise, leadership opportunities. When you find out that you're actually a good leader, that kind of changes your perspective on things. And then I know when I first left home, I went to Panama City, Florida, Tyndall Air Force Base, down in the panhandle of Florida. And I thought, looking at those bright city lights and how poor we were back in North Carolina. Then I deployed and I went to see the rest of the world. And I realized how rich we were as a country.
Right.
So I never saw us as poor again. So it opened my eyes to a totally different perspective. Not only that, the different people I met, all different backgrounds, met and worked with people from New York City, from California, from out west, all over the country, and then got to work with a lot of foreign people as well. So it really broadened my horizons in a major way for my life.
That's great. How did the transition go from leaving the military into the civilian life?
That's a tough question. You know that? It's hard that you go in through basic training and you're every step of the way up, and they do a really good job with that. We're still learning how to transition people out better.
Right. And
that was tougher for me than coming back out, because you're used to that camaraderie. You're used to that team building, the somebody's always got your back.
Right.
So when I was getting out, I was looking for various jobs. I'd applied at several universities, but JRTC was the first to call me. And I said, sure, I'll take an interview. 24 hours later, they hired me on the spot. So I wasn't prepared for that, but JRTC was part of my transition out. I'm not out of the uniform totally, but
right.
the mindset is very different, to where if you tell an airman, a soldier, a sailor, or a Marine something to do, it's done. You follow up later.
Right.
With a student, you have to figure out what motivates them. You have to use that psychological perspective a little bit deeper than ever in the military. So the transition out, this has really helped me learn how to, some of the kids would probably say become human again, but to how to deal with people. You just can't bark orders at them and expect the same end result. You have to finesse, you have to discuss and convince.
So all that leadership training that you had in the military, has that really helped you transfer into JROTC?
Tremendously. You have to have at least 20 years, either as a senior NCO or an officer, before you can even be considered for JROTC.
Right.
So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here.
So how long have you? So you've been doing this since you got out of the military?
Yes, 6 months. 6 months after I got out, I started doing this.
And how long
You're
have you
right.
been doing this now?
South Johnston, it will be 10 years in August of 24.
Wow. Okay. Well, good.
So,
So all in all, you are a military man through and through. You went in as a young man,
right.
and still doing it. You did it for 22
Right.
years, and now encouraging others. So
Yes,
would
sir.
you? I know this is a silly question for you. Would you recommend the military for a lot of young people?
I'm telling you, I know it's not for everyone. Military is definitely not for everybody, but at least try it, and it may broaden your horizons in a way you never imagined. I would recommend to any young person who's serious about a career, just try it. I mean, you can't think of a job that you can find on the civilian side that you wouldn't find in the military.
Right.
It's along the same lines. But I would highly recommend it. Yes, sir.
No, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for your service to this great country that we live in, and thank you for being
Thank you,
here
sir.
at South Johnston
Cool.
and supporting the kids here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, everyone. We are celebrating Veterans Day this week, and we are interviewing some of our teachers that were veterans and serve our country proudly. And Coach Collins is one of those proud veterans who served in the Navy. And I'm going to ask a few questions, and he's going to tell us about his service time, and maybe it'll help you make a decision whether or not maybe you want to go into service once you graduate. So when was it you enlisted?
It was in January of 1983. So a long time ago.
Guys, he's much older than me. Just FYI.
I'm 62.
And
I could retire this year.
And I'm
but
53. So
Yeah.
he's got me 9 years. Yeah, so we knows how I did that math fairly quickly in my head. All right. So what was basic training like back then compared to what do you think it is now?
I'm sure it's easier now, especially with, the way we're pretty, I don't want to say we're soft, but basic training for me was not very difficult. I was just coming off of playing college football. I was in probably the best shape of my life. So it was pretty easy. Plus I was a little bit older than most of the other recruits. So it was pretty easy.
All right. So you were in, I think you said, for 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
So where did you serve? You were in the Navy, so I'm sure you were on a ship. So what was that like? Where were you at for those 6 years?
Well, I had a great time in the Navy. I did my basic training in Orlando, did my basic electricity in Orlando, did my other electrician school in Chicago, which was nice because I could fly home to Detroit on the weekends. And then I got the dream job. I was stationed in Hawaii for the duration. I was on an oiler, so we were always gone. But I loved Hawaii. My mom got to visit me 2 times out there. So that was memories that I cherish. So
That's cool.
But I've been around the world. I've been to every continent other than the frozen ones. So I had a wonderful time. I almost made it a career.
All right. So you got out in 90. So you served 6 years. You got out in 90, if I'm doing that math right. And that was right at the beginning of the Persian Gulf War.
Yes.
So did you play any part of that?
I did, actually. We were over there during the Persian Gulf conflict when Iran and Iraq were blowing each other's oil tankers up. And we were just coming off the really high gas prices in 1983. I think it was, we went from 40 cents a gallon to like $2 a gallon. And you can imagine people freaking out. 40 cents a gallon.
We would love $2 a gallon.
Actually,
right
when I was in
now.
high school, it was 25 cents a gallon.
And it was $1 for me.
Yeah,
it was $1 for me.
So it was right at the beginning of that whole situation exploding in the Middle East. Matter of fact, the USS Stark, one of our battle, I was in a battle group, and we had refueled her several times, and they got hit by a Iraqi Exocet missile and killed 31 of their sailors. As a matter of fact, probably some of the guys that I talked to, because we did communications ship to ship. So it was pretty. Actually, I found out that they got hit because I just got out of the Navy then, so it was pretty pretty sad day for me because it was anytime anyone gets killed, it's sad.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
when it's people and organizations that it makes it even worse.
So would you recommend the military?
Oh heavens, yes, yeah, it changed my whole life because I was I just got done playing college football, as I'd said, and I was at that point where I wasn't with my dad in the garage. I was
Right.
always playing sports, and so I was like, well, now what do I do? And the Navy taught me some self-discipline. Got to reflect. We were out in the ocean a lot, so I got to be a good reader, and just changed my life. It just gave me some discipline, and I went back to school after I got out. I was on the honor roll, A student, and I wasn't like that when I was younger, though.
Right.
So, but it taught me a lot of things about myself.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your service. We are honored that you're teaching here, and we just really appreciate everything you've done for the country.
No problem. If anyone that wants to ask me questions about the military, just feel free to come down and see me.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Hey, everybody, it is RJ Allen again, still celebrating Veterans Day. And right now we have with us Mr. Cox. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great, great. So I just learned the other day when I was doing this interview that you were a veteran as well. So, again, thank you so much for your service to this great country that we live in.
It was an honor. Thank you.
So when did you enlist?
I enlisted in 92.
92.
In January of 92.
What branch of the military?
Air Force.
Air Force. Okay. What bases were you at, and how long were you in?
I was in 6 years, almost 7 years.
Okay.
I was in 6 years. I was here at Pope Air Force Base, now Pope Army Airfield.
Right.
I palace chased back to my hometown, which is Mansfield, Ohio,
Okay.
and finished out my career there.
Okay. So what was it that you did in the military?
I did hydraulics.
Okay.
So basically pneumatics, hydraulics, anything to work with any kind of liquids or airs. I did.
Okay. So transfer that to in the military. So what were you working on? Cars, vehicles, stuff like that?
I worked on C-130 aircraft.
Oh, okay. Okay.
My whole plan was to, when I joined the Air Force, was to go to Myrtle Beach or go to Seymour Johnson to work on the fighters. Of course, that's the macho thing to work on, and
Right.
I got sent to Pope Air Force Base. No Hope Pope is what they call it.
No Hope Pope. I remember Pope very well. I was at Seymour Johnson. My father was stationed at Seymour Johnson. So I literally grew up on that Air Force base.
Well, after we got there, it was pretty awesome. It was a great experience, and I'm very, very blessed and very happy to have served there.
So why did you end up leaving the military?
Got married, had a career in automotive restoration, looking at me, making a little bit more money. When I went back to the Air National Guard, it was part-time, kind of hard to get full-time back in there.
Right.
At that time, at least. And a friend of mine offered me a great position in the automotive restorations.
So did your career in the military help you with your career as you got out of the military?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
transfer?
Absolutely. It was, it taught me a lot of discipline. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, they're all one bunch, but they're treated kindly different. Air Force, and I think Navy, it's a job. When you go and you really, you work maybe a 10-hour shift, but it's actually a job, and you go home and you go to work the next day. Now we got to go all over the country and all over the world, but it trained me how to be a better employee.
What did you learn about yourself when you were in the military?
How to become a grown-up. When I left, I was a little bit, I was a little older when I went in. I ended up going in at 20 years old. Really had no forward look on where I wanted to be or what I was going to do.
Right.
My big thing why I went in the Air Force was I wanted a Corvette and I was going to go to college.
Right.
Neither one of those happened because life took over.
Life tends to do that sometimes.
But it was a great thing to do. It was something I'm very happy that I did.
Would you recommend it for others?
Oh, absolutely. Air Force to me was just incredible.
Well, Mr. Cox, thank you so much for your service of this great country we live in, and we really appreciate everything that you did in the service and that you do here at South Johnson. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, everybody, it is RJ Allen once again. And with us right now, you know this gentleman, Mr. Ron James, also retired military, U.S. Army. So thank you, first of all, for your service to this great country.
Thank
and
you.
For being here and allowing us to interview you for our Veterans Day special.
Thank you very much.
So how old were you when you enlisted, and what was basic like?
Well, I enlisted late for most standards. I was 23.
Wow, yeah.
Wasn't right out. I went to college first.
Okay.
So I went to college first and played 4 years basketball there. Didn't graduate on time. Met my wife at the time, and I said I want to get married, and didn't finish my degree. Enlisted in the military because I knew it could provide a family support for my family. So that's what I did.
So what was basic like back then? I mean, way back then.
Way back then, it was tough. It's a little softer nowadays, but you had to, there's a lot of screaming and yelling from drill sergeants. So it takes some getting used to if you're not used to being yelled at by somebody.
Right.
But it was challenging. It helped. I was already in shape from being a basketball player,
right.
But it was challenging for some folks though.
So what did you do in the military?
I initially enlisted as a power generator equipment repairman.
Okay.
And then went on to become a supervisor for a maintenance unit.
Okay.
I had guys that supervised guys that worked on forklifts, generators, wheeled vehicles, and night vision devices, and weapons.
So what year did you enlist?
Ooh, so you had to go there. You had to go there. Did you?
I got a follow-up question.
Right. I enlisted December 6th of 1983, before everybody in the school was
83?
Before everybody in the school was born.
I was 13.
13?
I was 13.
All right.
So in 89, that was the beginning of the Persian Gulf War. Did you serve in that at all?
I did not. I was being reassigned to Germany.
Okay.
And my family was on their way over. So because I was a new person in the unit, they didn't send me. They only sent like 3 of people with my MOS. And I was.
So what's MOS?
Military Occupational Specialty. That's what your job is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when my daughter went in, she kept saying MOS, and I'm like, what do you mean MOS? But yeah, I learned.
Okay.
So, how many different places did you live, or countries, you've been to?
Well, I've been to a lot of places, but I pretty much every 3 years I would rotate. So my first 3 was in Würzburg, Germany. And there I played on a semi-pro basketball team in Würzburg, Germany. Just
plug that in there. All right.
Then I went to Fort Benning, Georgia for 3 years. Went back to Germany, Vilseck, Germany for 3 years. Then from Vilseck, Germany, went to El Paso, Texas for 3 years. And then I was assigned to recruiting duty in Southern California for 3 years.
You've been all over.
And then from there, I went to Fort Bragg and spent the rest of my career at Fort Bragg. Last about 4 years at Fort Bragg. But traveled the world. Saw, all of Europe.
Was it worth it?
Oh, yeah. Europe is an amazing country.
Right.
Great food. Did one year in Korea as well, which was a interesting assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being up there in northern on the border of North Korea on the DMZ. So yeah, Kim Jong-un wasn't there then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
His father?
I think it was his father.
Yeah.
But they knew I was up there, so
they knew you were there, so everything was cool. They were like, "Hey, look, don't mess with South Korea right now." Ron James is there
on the DMZ.
I get it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No problem. Do you think your military service helped you in your current job?
It did. It taught me discipline, respect for others. And good hard work ethic,
right?
And just wanting to help, because I used to oversee a lot of soldiers. I had up at one point 200 soldiers were my responsibility. So just that desire to help and coach and build others to be one day replace me.
Right.
Yeah.
would you recommend the military for today's students or today's youth?
I wish that every student would had to do at least 2 years to help them, because not everybody knows what they want to do
Right.
after they get out of high school. So it's a chance to figure out what you want to do and get paid while you're figuring it out, and travel and see the world while you're trying to figure out what you want to do. So I wish everybody, like some European countries, some of them do, like I know Germany does. They have a 2-year commitment.
Israel does.
Israel does a
Israel
2-year
does,
commitment. So
right.
I wish we did that as well. Yeah.
Well, Mr. James, thank you so much for your service to this country and to this school and all the things that you have done to protect this country, especially up there in Korea, how you fought off North Korea. We greatly appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I kept America safe up
That's
there.
right. You did.
Well, thank you, RJ.
Thank you. Hey, everyone. It is RJ Allen again. And just so you know, my daughter and I just did an interview and I forgot to hit record. So now we're redoing the interview.
Okay.
So, hey, sweetie, again, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Everyone, this is my daughter, Veronica Allen. She is currently a specialist in the U.S. Army, and she is stationed at Carlisle Barracks in Pennsylvania, where she has been since she joined the military, basically. So we're going to ask her a few questions. And first off, sweetie, thank you so much for serving this awesome country that we live in. And I'm extremely, me and your mother are so extremely proud of you. So let's start off. A lot of the students are close to your age, so this is a great interview for them to kind of see it from a younger person's point of view, because everyone we've interviewed has been about my age or older. So now they get to have it from someone closer to their own age. So kind of tell us the process of what it's like to get into the military now.
Like from recruiter to MIPS.
Yeah, that's fine. Like people are going to understand what MEPS is. So you're going to have to kind of explain that.
MIPS is a thing in itself. I will say that.
Okay.
It's fun. It's not fun, but it's fun. It's
Okay.
annoying. So you go to your recruiter. I went to Goldsboro, and I had a great recruiter. Absolutely great. Still keep in contact with him. Great recruiter.
Matter of fact, your recruiter and I are now friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he was really good, not only with you, but also with your parents as well. And kept us in the loop of everything that was going on.
The whole office is great. So I didn't tell anyone I was going. I was like, I need a free education. I didn't know what else to do. And my nail salon shut down during COVID.
All right. So
I really didn't know what else to do.
I need to explain that. When she was in high school and she started taking cosmetology, then when she graduated high school, she had about a year left, went into cosmetology. And how long did you practice cosmetology, sweetie?
2 years, 2.5.
Were you in it that long?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I graduated the actual cosmetology school in 2018. Then you have 2019 and 2020 is when everything went. And I worked through 2018.
Okay. And that's when you decided to join the military.
Yep, I was sitting there doing nails or a pedicure, one of the two, and I was like, I want to be a vet. So I did this long, drawn-out process of joining the military and becoming a vet.
A veterinarian.
A veterinarian, yes.
Okay. So you've been in now. Actually, my daughter is in the process of transferring out of the military. She's been in almost 4 years.
Yeah.
And I want to back up just a minute. Kind of tell us, like, from the time you went on the airplane till you got off and what basic was like. Because I know a lot of young people that when they get ready to go into the military, they're scared, they're anxious. What's that process like the first just few days and then basic?
Well, I went in when I was 21 and I turned 22 in basic, like a month in. So I had been away from home. I wasn't worried about being away from home and being away. I was like, I can do it. I'll miss my family, but I'll be all right. They'll still be there. I remember getting on the plane. I got on the plane in Raleigh, and I think I flew to Texas, and we drove up to Oklahoma on a bus. And I had one girl with me the whole way. I forgot her name, but she was also from Goldsboro. And it was scary. I was nervous. I remember I was fine the whole plane ride. I was fine bus ride until I saw the sign that said, "Welcome to Fort Sill, Oklahoma." And I saw it and I was like what did I just do? Because when you go onto the TRADOC side of the base and you see everyone marching and you see formations and you see the drill pads and you see everything, you're like I just did this. I can't back out.
You already signed the dotted line.
Yeah, I can't do anything.
So what was basic like?
It was the most fun you never want to have ever again.
Explain that.
You learn a lot of things. You do a lot of exercises, not like PT exercises, but my favorite one I did was the obstacle course. And monkey climbing down this ginormous rope with my lieutenant at the end, who he was crazy. He took the rope, you can't see, he took the rope in his hand and he got on it monkey style and then started bouncing on it while I'm on the top of the rope trying to come down.
That sounds fun.
It was hard. That's a lot of fun. I had a great basic. I got along with all the girls in my day. I didn't get smoked like everybody else did. I was a good trainee. I did what I was told.
I wonder if you learned a lot of that from home.
Probably. Basic is you're there to do. You're not there to think. You're there to do. They tell you what to do, you do it. That's it. Even if you don't want to do it, do it. It's fun though.
So once you transitioned out of basic, you got stationed. You went to your MOS, which was
I went to AIT.
In Texas, right?
Yeah, San Antonio.
You were there, what, 6-8 weeks?
I was there from middle of November to March.
Oh, wow. You were there a long time then. And then you were stationed at Carlisle Barracks. To me and your mother's surprise, we were very pleased that you were stationed out here on the East Coast. You're only 6 hours away, which was very comforting to me and your mother. But now you are a vet tech and a health inspector, basically. Is that correct?
Yep. I'm a 68 Romeo is my actual MOS, and I got cross-trained as a 68 Tango, which is one of our sister MOSs. And
you are currently in college doing what?
I'm currently in college right now, getting an associate in science. And then next year I will be transitioning into my bachelor for a vet tech.
All right. Do you feel the military's helped you and prepare you for the next stage of your life?
Considering I'm going to school to be a vet tech, then veterinarian, and I'm currently doing the task that I would be doing in clinicals and schools and everything, absolutely.
Do you regret joining the military at all?
No.
I
wanted to get out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you did what you had planned out to do, and now you're going to get a good education, and you're out there accomplishing your dreams.
You said planned out to do. I did not plan on joining the military.
Well,
That was not like
because of the military, you're now able to get an education, and I don't want to say a free education because you served your country doing it, but now you're able to go get that education and fulfill the dream that you had. And me and your mother are so dang proud of you. We can't stand it. So I'll stop there before I start crying. What?
There's a college wall in the house.
That's
and
right.
My cosmetology degree is on it. And my basic pictures are on it.
That's right. So
I made the college wall without going to college. So
what she's talking about, in our house, we have a wall in our house just dedicated to college, and each degree that we achieve, you make the wall. And we started, I think, with, what did we have? Two degrees up there, baby, and we're up to what, 14 degrees now?
I don't know. I know my doctorate's going to go above my room.
Yeah, yeah. She is. Veronica's determined to get a higher degree than me. I think is that what you keep telling me?
That has been the goal since I told you I wanted a PhD, and you're like, I think I want to get mine first. And I'm like,
well, I want you to have yours up there as well. So, and I know you will. But sweetie, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for serving this great country. And me and your mother love you very much.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July.